What up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice and Dragons, we are going to be taking a look at Horrified. Now, this was supposed to be the game we played on Halloween. Long story. We won't bore you with it. But we did get to play it the weekend after Halloween. So it's time to review it. Now, Horrified is brought to you by Ravensburger, and it is designed by Prospero Hall. I found it out. It's nowhere on the box. So now I'm going to toss it over to Julie, who will tell you more about the game itself.
So this is a 1 to 5 player cooperative game that's intended for ages 10 and above and plays in about 60 minutes.
So where's this set, Julie?
It's the classic monsters.
Yes, the classic Universal monsters. Is there Tom Cruise?
I wouldn't think so.
But you love Tom Cruise.
Well, he's not a classic, is he? Well, one could argue that he now maybe is one. But anyways.
Yeah, so this is based on the original versions of those classic Universal monsters. And what you're going to be doing in the game is moving around a village. Now, you've got how many monsters attacking the village?
I believe it's 7.
Yes, up to 7 different monsters attacking the village. The villagers really should move.
Yeah, they're a little stupid. They kind of come out and wander around in the worst possible times and appear in places where monsters are and get killed immediately.
Yes, that is definitely something that can happen with bad luck. So you're going to be protecting the village, trying to protect the villagers. Some of them may commit suicide. As you move around the map, picking up items which count as your hit points and will also be instrumental in you solving the problem of the monster, whether it's smashing some coffins or solving the riddle of the mummy, and then you need to use them to defeat the monster itself. Well, I think we've talked enough about the game. What time is it, Julie?
It's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our
Fellow monster hunters?
Okay, well, you've been giving me crap about my choice, so.
Well, you never go with it, so.
I always come up with something. You seem to prefer best friend. I was letting you decide.
And we're going to take it to the table.
I'm going to take it to the table.
If he stops arguing with me.
Good monster hunters argue with each other. That's how they save the day in the nick of time.
Yeah, okay.
Now let's take a look at the components for Horrified. Now, as we usually do here on Dice and Dragons, we'll start with the rule book. Now, unfortunately, no quick reference guides on the back. Not that you need it. You've got a very straightforward rule book. Shows you everything that you're going to get in the game. You've got a nice instructions on how to set up. I do like the little bit of flair that you get to really give it that 1950s movie feel. And I must say that the rulebook has really no issues. It's very easy to learn. The last part here just gives you a little bit more on the different monsters. Now, we'll put that aside. And let's take a look at this part of the components. Well, where we've got them set up. We'll take a look at the board last. Now here you've got the items, which are the key aspect of the game, as items are used to defeat monsters as well as accomplish objectives. They're also your hit points, so keep that in mind. You've got red items that seem to be more physical, blue items that seem to be more mental, and these yellow ones seem to be a little bit more mythical, as you can see, Wolfsbane and the Stake. Now, you also do get a bag to place all of the items in, because you're going to be drawing a lot of them blind from the bag. Now, of course, it would not be a monster game without the aforementioned monsters, and we've got the miniatures for them here. So we've got the creature from the Black Lagoon. Now, these aren't the most detailed minis. Don't think you're going to want to paint them, but they do a very good job of conveying who the monster is, what they are, and I like the color coding on them. We then have the Wolfman, Frankenstein's monster, the bride of Frankenstein's monster, the Invisible Man, Count Dracula, and lastly, the Mummy. Now we'll take a quick look at the monster sheets. Now during a game you're going to have 2, 3, or up to 4 monsters in play. Now what you'll notice is that on the monster sheet they have a frenzy marker. It explains what they do. So the creature strikes from the depths, locate his watery watery retreat, so you can oust him. Then you've got the objective, what you need to do. Each monster has tokens that go with them. So for example, you need the boat token, which is the tracker here, as well as the camp overlay. So as you can see, we've got one for the precinct. They're all color-coded. So precinct for the invisible man, laboratory for the wolfman, camp, as we said, for the creature from the Black Lagoon, and the museum for the mummy. You can even see their symbols on these different tokens. So creature from the Black Lagoon, what you have to do to then be able to drive the creature away using what is required here. And as you'll notice, you always need to be spending items to complete these things. Here you've got what this symbol means on the dice. The game comes with 3 dice. So this triggers a special effect. This is a hit. And of course, the blank is a miss. So you get an idea. Now, Frenzy is just sort of the order where the monsters are placed. Also on the back of the monster cards are the setup for every monster. So as you can see with the mummy, what you need to do first is reorganize his scarabs. There are 6 of them. I just placed out 3. They get set up in a specific way, and you need to get them to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you're able to defeat the mummy. For Frankenstein and the Bride, we've got these 2 dials that you then flip over once, as you can see. He's no longer mad, he's happy. We make them more human. Now, when you're playing against this monster, you do have both characters who will trigger separately. This is Frankenstein's logo. This is the Bride's logo. It also explains the objective. Here we've got Dracula. We've got Dracula's coffins. You need to defeat all of his coffins in order to be able to defeat Dracula with, it makes sense, it's yellow, these mythic items, but you need red items, physical items to destroy his coffins. With regards to the Invisible Man, you need to prove that he actually exists. Just finding different items from each of these locations that are on the board. Doesn't matter what color they are. Then you will need 9 physical to defeat him. And then he's got a nasty special ability, which makes him move towards villagers to kill and murder them. Lastly, we have... there is one thing that I neglected to mention, so we're just going to jump back a few of them here, all the way back to the mummy. Now, the mummy also has this soul sign, which means he's going to potentially be chasing after a specific character. Also, as we said with these different overlays, you need to perform this at the museum. Dracula is his coffins. For the Invisible Man, you must be at the precinct in order to do this. Then lastly, we're getting onto the Wolfman. So you need to place specific blue items with the values 1, 2, and 3 to develop the cure, which one character will then get. Character must have the cure in hand and the physical items to defeat him. And this all takes place at the laboratory. So there you have it. You've seen the monsters that you get in the game. Don't worry, we're going to do a full explanation. Let's keep moving on here. We've been already going at this for a few minutes. So here we've got the monster deck. What you're going to do, sometimes it's related to a specific monster, sometimes it's generic. Number of items you're going to put into play. What the effect is, monsters that'll trigger, movement, and then the attack dice. You draw one of these after every player's turn. Now you got different powers, different hero cards. For example, each player draws and places one item from the item bag. Move a hero 4 spaces, and you'll see at the bottom they can be played during any hero phase. So during any player's hero part of the turn, you've got 5 action cards because it's a 5-player game. It's got everything nicely detailed for you. Some great reference card. Explains all the actions. You may be wondering why it's sleeved. Well, it's sleeved because cards are definitely a little cheap and flimsy, so you're going to want to have them sleeved. And before I forget, we talked about the monsters. Just jumping back here quickly. This is the hunted token. A player that gets this will be hunted by the Wolfman. Now we've covered all the stuff here related to the monsters. Here we've got the different player characters who are set up as these colored standees. We have an inspector, a scientist, archaeologist, courier, explorer, mayor, and the professor. Now you see the number of actions, the special action that they may do once per turn, and their starting location. So not everyone has the same special action. So with the inspector, they can actually jump to and really, place your hero in any non-water space with a monster, meaning very good at getting into a monster space and defeating them if they've got the right items. You can see which standee you need. So for the inspector, it's all colored, all nicely based. As these are all just standees, I don't want to go through all of them. You get a nice idea from the top-down view there of the different colors. Well, I'll take a quick look at all of the hero characters. We're not going to go through all of the ones for the different villagers. I just don't think you get a lot of value out of it. There you have it. We've seen all the different characters and their colored standees. Next, we've got the villagers. So as you can see, this is the location they need to go to. So for Lucy, she needs to go to the mansion. They'll spawn one of those random gray cards. They need to safely move them across the board to that safe spot, which is how you get more of your hero cards. We also have the terror track marker that will be in play, and then the frenzy marker to tell you which monster is the frenzied monster. So we've taken a look at all the components. The last thing is the board itself. I love this little bit of flavor text to make it feel like a 1950s setup. Now we'll just open up the board so you can see. Don't worry, we're going to be doing a setup and out of play, so we'll adjust the camera, make sure everything fits. You can see the terror track, all the different locations, and you're going to be moving around this board except in the water spaces, which are the element for the creature. As you move around the town, pretty terrible town because, this many monsters, who wants to live there, right? And you need to defeat them, save the villagers, save the town, and win the day. So with that being said, we've taken a look at the components. Now we're going to teach you how to set up the game, and then we're going to go through a quick how to play. Now we're going to teach you how to set up Horrified. So we've got the board out. We are doing a recommended setup. So this is for your first game, which says fight Dracula and the creature from the Black Lagoon on novice. All of the villagers have been taken out. We have a reference card right here, the monster cards with a nice space to discard them, and the hero cards with the same thing. Now, in order to find the instructions, you can always just take another sheet, which will tell you what to do for the creature from the Black Lagoon and for Dracula. Now for the creature, we need to take the boat token, place it at the starting location. We also need the camp overlay, which I'm going to grab, and we will get that placed over the camp. And next, we then need to place the creature on the board in the lagoon. So we'll place them there. As you can see, a few different tokens. We've got the camp overlay, which fits nicely over that spot on the board and gives us a new action. So you see it says solve. That is the action that we are then able to take. Now with regards to Dracula, we need to get his coffins on the board. We can see the locations right there. So we will place one in the crypt, dungeon, graveyard, and the cave. So Dracula will start in the crypt, and we've now set him up, so we will no longer need this card. We'll get rid of it. We will then set the frenzy marker on Dracula as it starts on the character with the lowest number, Dracula being 1, creature from the Black Lagoon being 4. We now need to pick our investigator, so we've got all of our investigator tiles. The game just recommends, giving a little mix up and picking some. So we're going to pick 2. The rest will go back in the box. And for this game, we are the courier and the explorer, which I'll place here. The courier starts at the camp. That can be a good or a bad thing. And we have the courier who starts in the shop. Now, all their standees for characters we will not be using will be returned to the bag. We then have the terror marker, which will go at the 0 location. Once this reaches 7, we will now lose the game. We also have our dice, which are available. And the last thing is that each hero character gets their own card. Actually, that was what we had last time when I took a quick look at the deck. We'll shuffle it up. Now you may have noticed the cards are sleeved. I believe I mentioned something about this in the components. Well, for those of you that did not hear it, in case you skipped over that using our timestamps, we sleeve the cards because they're very flimsy. I use standard sleeves. You may want to use thicker sleeves. So we're going to have each hero draw a card. So for the purposes of the courier, he may move each hero up to 2 spaces. And for the explorer, she may place the invisible man in any space or move any monster 3 spaces. Now, the game is set up, so we're going to come back at you with the courier's turn. So keep it right here as we get into the how to play. Now, before we get into the how to play, I was rushing because I needed to make a quick battery change. We neglected the item setup phase. So for this, we need to draw 12 items and place them in the proper location. So we've got the Abbey, Tower, Camp, Barn, Graveyard, Docks, and the Church, the Mansion, which brings us to a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we need 4 more items. We've got 3. Draw 1 more, the 4th item. We get another one at the Barn, Mansion, Church, and the Theater. So now that we've completed the setup, we're going to start with the hero phase. Now the way the game works is there's a hero phase, then there's a monster phase. So we're going to go over the hero actions. Now a hero may move to an adjacent space, taking any number of villagers with you, provided they are in the same space as you. If there was a villager there, the explorer can move 1 as so. There is the ability to guide. So for example, if the explorer was here, they may move a villager to their space or from their space. So let's say, for example, Professor Pearson needs to get to the museum. My explorer was here with him like this. They could just move into the museum and not have to move themselves. So that is how guide works. I will just place him back here. Next, we have pick up. So you can pick up any number of items that are in your space. You get to the side. You may advance a task by using an item at the specified location. So any tasks you needed to do, such as smashing the coffins. The camp gives you solve, which is a specific task. So sometimes they'll be related to the overlay, like you could have at the laboratory, which you have at the camp, or just what's in the spot with the coffins. Next, defeat a monster by using items in that monster space. So can't be here. Just a reminder, heroes can't be in water, but if the creature was here and we'd completed the first part of his quest, we could then defeat him. And then lastly, a special action as noted on your character card. Now, the courier has 3 actions, while the explorer has courier has 4 actions, explorer has 3 actions. After a hero phase, we will move into a monster phase. So to teach you the game, I'll probably go through about 4 rounds and then give you, some explanations as to how some things work that we're probably not going to get to. So we'll start with the courier. We've got 4 actions. We need to destroy Dracula's coffins. So the thing that makes the most sense is to go towards the dungeon, as we got some of the strongest physical items that way. We're going to move 1, 2, 3, and then pick up both items in the barn, which I'm just going to pile up under here. Flip the card over, and it is now the monster phase. So what we need to do is we flip over a monster card and see what we get. So we do the first thing, which is draw 2 items from the bag, and then we place them in your location. So we get the docks and the inn. Next, we place Dracula in the space with the current player's hero. So that's unfortunate. Dracula takes the form of the bat, and we do it because this is a Dracula ability. You've got his symbol here. It's also red. Afterwards, we see what monsters would trigger. Now, I'm going to lift this up to get a little closer to the camera. It would be the mummy, the bride, or the invisible man. They would then move 1 and do 2 damage. As that is what occurs, it is now the explorer's turn. Nothing else happens. Now, the explorer they want to advance the creature from the Black Lagoons track would need a red. Now they're in a space with the item at camp. Could be good to get it, could be not. I don't really want to grab it right away. I'd rather get some more items because items are also used as your hit points. And I think overall we want to try to take out Dracula. So we're going to move 1, 2, and for the third action, pick up these 2 items, which are going to place under here. And we're just going to slide this up a bit, make sure everything stays on camera. We then flip over a card. So we get the Enthralled, which means with Lucy is going to be placed at the theater, and we're also going to be placing 3 items. So I'm just grabbing the items off camera, a little easier. So we got Pistol at the Precinct, and 2 items at the Institute. Now I need to find Lucy, who I believe is here, who is at the theater but needs to go to the mansion. Now, one thing that's very important here is you see which monsters trigger. So right now, Dracula would trigger. And as Dracula is in the same space as my hero, he's going to attack. He is also the frenzied monster, meaning he's going to get 2 attacks. Now, if, for example, I was not there, I was in the laboratory, Dracula would move 2 towards the closest hero or villager. As Lucy is here, he would move 2, and then as there's no hit points, villagers can't hold items, we'd have to roll the dice. In this case, Lucy would be hit, she'd be dead, defeated, the terror track would move up by 1. So it's important that you protect the villagers as much as possible. They are very vulnerable, especially in a situation where monsters can double activate. So going back to how things were actually during the turn, let's go through it. So Dracula is going to attack the courier twice with 1 die. So that's 1 hit. Now I have a choice of which item I can get rid of. And these items are discarded. They do not go back in the bag. Once the bag runs out of items, they will go back in the bag. So I'm going to discard my pitchfork, which sucks. We roll again. We get another hit. I need to then discard my other item. But fortunately, I'm still alive. So that was just unpleasant. And now it's the courier's turn. There were some ways I could have avoided that, but I didn't want to avoid it. I wanted to show you how that would have worked. But a good way to avoid that is when Dracula came into my space, the explorer could have used the card to move any monster 3 spaces. But it is our courier's turn. And we need to do something good here. So we're going to move 1, pick up for 2. Then we're going to move 3, 4. And we're bringing Lucy towards the mansion. And we can get down to the graveyard here and hopefully destroy a coffin. It is now the monster's turn. Now at this point we get 3 items and it's on the move. So we would move the frenzy marker to the next monster, then move each villager 1 space toward their safe location. So we'll start with the 3 tokens. Laboratory, tower, camp. Lucy will move 1 towards her safe location. The frenzy token moves to the creature who hasn't done anything yet, will now activate, who is going to move 3 towards the closest hero or villager and attack with 2 dice, meaning either way is the same. I'm going to come after the explorer in the camp and we'll attack with 2 dice. Roll the 2 die. We get only 1 hit, 1 blank. We did not get any of the exclamation marks. So right now, I think we're going to focus on Dracula. These red items are more important. We'll discard this one. Now, we'll go through the explorer's turn, and you'll notice yet we haven't used really any special actions. They're very good actions, but we just haven't needed them really yet. So the first action is going to be Guide, as we're going to move Lucy to the mansion, taking her off the board and gaining another one of these perk cards, which means the current player takes 2 additional actions. That's pretty good. So we're actually going to spend this right away. Give ourselves 2 actions. So we've spent 1 of our 3. We have 2 more, so a total of 4 actions, meaning I can use my special action to move to any space on the board, which is now my second action, out of the 4 left. Third, I'm going to pick this up, so I have a revolver. And then out of the 5 actions, I'm just going to count. Don't want to get this wrong. So first was 1. Moving her here. 2, 3, 4, 5. And I don't like this guy being nearby, so we're going to move him 1, 2, 3 down to the hospital. And we can move each hero up to 2 spaces using our other perk card. Notice they can be played during any hero's turn, which is good. It's going to get us to go 1, 2, get there. And not so sure I want to go for this one now, as I've moved the creature down there, but need to do something. We're going to need some blue items for later, so I'm going to move down here with the courier. Now, we've gone through the turn. We need to go through the next monster phase. And we must place the creature at the waterfront. We don't spawn any items. It's a 0. So he goes to the waterfront, and oh no, he triggers because he's the frenzied monster. He moves 1 and will attack us at the Institute with 3 dice. Now, that's actually really good because he didn't hit us. So at this point, we would rock the boat, meaning if the boat was up here, we'd have to move it back 1. We're actually safe. Now, if the creature had, let's say, rolled 3 hits, then we'd have no choice. We would be defeated. We could choose to discard the rapier. We can also decide to keep it. When you're defeated, your character goes off the board, or, as I like to do it, I just place them right away. They go to the hospital. So if you get a hit like that, there's no point. Just keep your item, go to the hospital. When a hero is defeated, the terror track goes up by 1. And that's how you're going to be playing the game. You're going to be moving around the board, doing stuff like that. So in this case, it'd be a perfect time for me to pick up a bunch of stuff and probably teleport over to where, well, not teleport, but place your hero in any space with another hero, jump across, maybe help out at the camp, maybe move that, or figure out a way to get over here without getting into too much trouble, and starting to smash these coffins. I do find playing the game, you're better off trying to get rid of 1 monster, as the game will get exponentially easier when we do that. So we've gone through 2 player turns. That gives you definitely an idea as to what you're going to be doing and how you're going to be playing Horrified. So with that being said, Julie and I are going to come back at you with our review of the game. So Horrified, what did you think of the game? And I'm definitely really curious because you really didn't seem like you were all that interested when I brought it home from the States. Yes, we're Canadian. I don't believe it's officially released here yet. But luckily, found it at Target. There's lots of games at Target these days. Damn you, Target, for leaving Canada. Well, your prices sucked, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, first of all, I would say I thought it was cool that it's monsters that I definitely know.
Did you watch those movies, though?
No. No, maybe I watched part of them, but no. Horror is never my thing. That being said, there's a lot of things that I did like about the game. I love the colors. Honestly, it's all primary colors. I love the card stock that's used for the characters for the characters. So yeah.
if we are talking about the card stock, sorry to jump in there, but we did discuss it as I was in the process of sleeving the cards. What do you think of the card stock for the other components of the game?
I never even got to touch them. You sleeved them immediately, so I'm guessing you have something to say about it.
Yeah, it sucks. The card stock is terrible. Buy thick sleeves. I've got standard sleeves. The game is very easily damaged. As it's a game that's designed for ages 10 and up, I would recommend sleeving sleeving everything. You may even want to consider laminating the player boards, not the player boards, sorry.
The monster boards.
The monster boards. Those are fairly flimsy, but as they're so large, they hold up well enough. But if you're going to be playing this with young kids, I think both of us can agree it's something that you may want to take the time to protect.
Yeah, so the art is great. I love the art on this. I think it's very appropriate, and it's nice. It's not as scary. It's just, colorful and fun and very thematic.
So 1950s.
I really like that. And honestly, one of the things I think I appreciated the most, as much as I've complained about other games lacking complexity, I think this game is just perfect in its lack of complexity. It was really easy to pick up. Basically you said, here are the actions you can do. You have this many actions. This is what your player can do, and you do this, and this is our goal. And honestly, we picked it up really quickly. We played with other people as well. Same thing. It's just a lot of fun. And not complex, but in a good way. I think it absolutely it absolutely is what it sets out to be.
And do you think this would ever get stale?
Probably. If you were to play it, I would say if you're going to play it every night for 3 weeks, you'd probably get bored with it at some point. But stale in the sense of, could you replay it? It has lots of replayability over the years. I think it's something you can pull out and have lots of fun. For me, it's something you can play over and over again. I just wouldn't play it every night, like I said, for a couple weeks.
Yeah, so I think we agree on that. And the reason why I asked you the question is I'm going to start giving my thoughts and opinions on the game. But this is not a game night game. Like, this is not the kind of game that you bring to game night that you're going to play with the group on a weekly basis. Now, is this a game that you can play and have fun with at game night? Absolutely. I think that any gamer will not be disappointed having it in their collection. I'm not sure if it's that regular game rotation where you play it all the time, unless this is the kind of game that you go for, which is a little bit on the lighter side. That being said, I barely even taught the game on some of our playthroughs. I read the rule book, knew the slight little complexity, such as what happens to villagers, the way to interact with the monsters. Afterwards, I just kind of gave everyone their reference cards, almost said sheets, and said, here are your actions. This is what you can do. Here are the number of actions on your player. Here's your special ability. You can use it once per turn. Go. And we just dove in. It really is that easy to teach once you understand the game, and I have to commend it for it. While the game is, as Julie says, very simple, you are really just moving around the town, either picking up items and strategically trying to damage the monster, or either trying to avoid a monster while picking up items to later on be completing the goal. And then lastly, you might be trying to protect a villager. You get a lot of flexibility with the actions that you can do, the way that the cards work in terms of the perks. I do like, and I dislike that a little bit. I think, well, they're very powerful, so they're a little bit more challenging to get. And depending on the game, you may get more or less of them. On our first play, actually my first play with the Cyberbard, we didn't get them until later on in the game. It seemed all the cards with regards to having villagers spawn at the bottom of the deck. So that is a little bit of a negative, but just a minor one. I get why you need to save the villagers to get the cards. But overall, I think the game is simple, easy to teach, and definitely something that I think every family almost, and very rare that I think that this something belongs in every household that likes games. This is probably the perfect Halloween game for all ages. I don't think this is something that, if you're a hardcore gamer household, kids are maybe, teens, maybe not this one, but if you're playing with, grandma, grandpa, the kids, everyone can play this game. And I think Ravensburger and Prospero Hall did a fantastic job designing an entry-level co-op game that does have some challenge.
I was going to say, not that it was that difficult, but when we played with when the two of us played with a total of 4 characters and 3 monsters.
But we had almost 4.
I was going to say we had the bride, Frankenstein and his bride. If you want to add a challenge, add them, and then you're basically adding. It's like you're adding 2 different monsters because they activate separately. It was a challenge, and then we almost died. We came very close to dying.
Every game that I've played with this, I've almost come close to dying. I don't think I've played a game yet where the terror level has been below 6. Now, I know there are other people out there that have had much easier games. It seems to have been with, at least with our games, we get a lot of dumb villagers. There were quite a few times where we go, spawn the villager in the theater, and then the villager spawns in the theater with Dracula and is proceeded to be murdered, sucked dry, whatever Dracula does to his prey. So that is one thing that I would say can be frustrating, but it hasn't caused...
part of the game.
It's frustrating. I'm saying just in case it ever happened to someone where you got 5 or 6 of them in the row and you lose. It hasn't happened to us yet. I think that scenario is very unlikely, but I can just say that it is a little annoying. Happened on the first play as well when I played it at an event called Top and Wagamon with some friends of ours in Montreal. But I think we've really talked enough about the game. We talked about the art. We both like the art. We talked about the component quality. Everything cardboard related is very good. And one thing we didn't mention is I love that little aspect they did on the board, the little flare on the back to make it feel like you're going into a monster movie, like when you open up the box. So there's all these
and you have the little bag that you pull the items out of. You know, it really doesn't feel. I mean, besides the card stock for the villagers and the special actions, that's a little flimsy, but everything else is pretty good, I think.
Yeah, no, I think every overall solid game, not the most expensive game, but definitely something that I think belongs in almost every gamer's collection, especially for a Halloween game. Now, Julie, why don't you rate the game? I think we've gone on enough about it.
I'm going to say, honestly, I think it's a solid 7.5 for me. And maybe, technically it should be a 7, but I had so much fun playing it, it's getting a 7.5.
Well, you know what? I talked a big game. I said that this potentially belongs in every gamer's collection, which means I got to give it an 8. Now, that being said, I don't think this game is an 8 for everybody. It's not a game that's going to make like my top 10 list. I don't think it would make your top 10 list.
Probably not.
No. But it's a game that is a co-op. We love co-ops. It's easily teachable, very accessible. Just to reiterate those facts one more time. And one thing that we do like to give credit here when it comes to design, it does exactly what it sets out to do and succeeds, and it's fun. It's just a good time at the table. Now, don't make this your weekly game night game, but definitely something that you can play with the family on any occasion. So, now that we've discussed the game, we've given it our rating. Julie, what should people be doing?
They can like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content for you.
Yes, and down below in the video description, if you're not already following us, well, you should follow us because you will see lots of pictures from our plays of Horrified. You can also see, a couple of hints as to what may be coming down the pipeline for the channel. And also popping up in front of Julie and myself will be links to some of our previous videos. What's a good one that's related to Horrified that we could link back to? Any ideas?
The funny one, the one that popped up in my mind was Choose Your Own Adventure, but...
Well, maybe we'll do that one. There'll definitely be a link back to our most recent release. Maybe even Elder Sign. I haven't decided
I was going to say Elder Sign or Arkham Horror.
Well, we haven't actually reviewed Arkham Horror.
Oh.
But Arkham Horror Final Hour. There you go, getting a sneak peek. Got the game. Unboxing will be coming, so keep an eye out for that. And the review will be coming hopefully shortly thereafter. We have a lot of stuff that showed up this month. It was like a drought of new games, and now everything's arriving.
So on that note, it's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our fellow Monster Hunter.
Now we're best friends because we're done.
Now we're best friends?
Yep.
But can't Monster Hunters be best friends? And you didn't quite cheers me. Get it right.
I did cheers you. Gonna keep playing games.
We're definitely going to keep playing games. Now, do you think that Horrified needs an expansion?
No, I think it's good like it is.
I think it's good like it is as well. Maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything that you could really expand it into. I guess maybe you could put Tom Cruise in it. But I don't know how that would work.
What's your obsession with Tom Cruise tonight?
I don't know. I just kind of got that song that's always like, I think like I'm Tom Cruise. I'm Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise.
No, let's quit. Cut.